Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the sales storytelling competition. We will begin shortly. Good afternoon, I bid to the esteemed judges, teachers, and my fellow sales participants. I'm Sai, your MC for today's exciting event, where language meets creativity, confidence, and a whole lot of courage. On behalf of the organizing committee, we are pleased to welcome you to the Storytelling Competition of Sales 2025. I hope everyone's thrilled to witness our talented participants' language skills and creativity through the stories they share today. Before we begin, allow us to introduce our esteemed panel of judges. First up, prestige Dr. Christine Shobana Arthur, who will be our head judge for today. Dr. Christine Arthur obtained her PhD in higher education from Lancaster University. She is passionate about evaluating the effectiveness of feedback and assessments in higher education and exploring the potential of evaluative research within educational research. Dr. Christine supports students from diverse backgrounds, focusing on helping underachievers in English language learning. Joining Dr. Christine, we have Puan Hanan Sofia. Puan Hanan is an English teacher at Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Lelaki Bukit Bintang with extensive experience teaching various levels. She is a master trainer for the Petaling Utama district and has been teaching for over 10 years. She has also contributed to national education broadcasts, such as being a DDTV personality. Puan Hanan's teaching journey is driven by a deep love for language, creativity in lesson planning, and a strong belief in every student's potential to grow. For everyone's information, we also have our third judge, Mr. Eugene Borayas. Mr. Borayas has a teaching experience of 29 years with the Ministry of Education and 5 years teaching in the private sector. He has taught in primary, secondary, and also in the Royal Military College. His motto, learning English is always fun. Unfortunately, Mr. Eugene will not be able to join us here today due to unforeseen circumstances. So all participants' performances will be screen recorded and sent to Mr. Eugene for evaluation. Apologies for the inconvenience caused. Thank you, judges, for being here today. We know this won't be an easy task, but we trust your expertise and insight. For everyone's information, the theme for our competition today is Roots of Change. A quick reminder of the rules. 2 rounds will be held for this competition. The first round would be the prepared storytelling, and the second round would be the impromptu storytelling. For the first round, each participant has a time limit of 5 to 7 minutes. A bell will ring once at the 5-minute mark and twice at the 7-minute mark. Marks will be deducted thereafter. Now, without further ado, let us begin the long-awaited storytelling competition of Sales 2025, starting with Round 1, Prepared Storytelling. Let us welcome our first participant competing today, Muhammad Norzal Aidi bin Omar from Sekolah Menengah Islam IQKL. You may begin your performance now.
Test mic 1 2 3. Can you hear me? I repeat, test mic 1 2 3. Assalamu alaikum and greetings. My name is Zal ID from SMI IQKL, here to tell you a story with the title of Vision to Action. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Tucked away in the lush forest lies a village nestled in the valley between 2 mountains, where a wide river split the settlement in 2. In size, it resembled a small city, but the atmosphere remained calm and peaceful. It was a place where the sound of the river could soothe even the busiest mind, where birds flew overhead and the air carried the fresh scent of grass and earth. There lived a girl special compared to others her age. Farhana was 12, a quiet girl with a thoughtful nature. She was known throughout the village for her gentle charm, which slowly blossomed into beauty as she grew older. She and her friends, a group of devout Muslims, shared a deep admiration for the village's natural beauty. Their love for nature was rooted in faith, and many of their memories were of playing in the large forest and swimming in the clear river. Often, she could be seen alone, journal in hand, scribbling down her thoughts, or simply being mesmerized by the great trees. The scent of earth after rain, the flutter of birds wings overhead, and the play of light through the leaves brought her a calm no words could fully capture. But in recent years, that sense of peace had slowly begun to fade. The river, once crystal clear, now had islands of plastic drifting along the current. Bottles and bags clung to its edges, a sign of the village's growing reliance on plastic. A clean stream reflects a clear heart. This proverb had become a painful truth for Hannah was forced to accept. Yes, the wind still moved, but now carried the scent of ash instead of fresh grass and earth. Her family, like most in the village, rarely visited the nearby city. In fact, she had only been there a few times. This was caused by the village's limited access to roads that connected them to the outside world. This made the trip require a grueling 4-hour journey through ranges of hills, winding roads, and narrow bridges in their aging pickup truck. But to Farhana, everything was worth it. Each time a trip was planned, she saved whatever little money she had. She spent it on books about the environment and the dangers of pollution. Each one brought more knowledge, more tools. One closer to healing her village. Now, at 15, carrying both knowledge and a growing concern, Farna made a decision. She would begin teaching the villagers. Well, many still said it's not a fault or it's too late. But Farhana believed otherwise. Change was possible. Slowly, the village could begin to heal, one person at a time. Through quiet determination, she shared what she knew. Day by day, she spoke to others about the dangers of pollution, the damage already done, and the hope that remained. At first, only a few listened, but that was enough. She kept going. After several days, she finally gathered the courage to face those at the heart of the problem. The many of those who dismissed the warnings and turned their backs on the truth. She came prepared, speaking with confidence. She pointed to the river, now choked with plastic. She pointed to the trees, thinning at the edges. Her words needed no exaggeration. The damage was plain to see. But as in every village, every city, and every society, there were always those who refused to listen. Too proud, too selfish, or too afraid to face the truth. Pak Cik Hassan, the local baker, refused to acknowledge that his dumping of oil into the river and the use of plastic bags were harming the village. Farhana showed him the effects on the environment. Yet the cranky old man replied angrily, "Hey, I don't care if my waste are so-called ruining the village. Using plastic is way cheaper and easier. Also, what do you want me to do with the oil?" Farhana, stressed but clearly confident, replied, "I don't know, probably donate it to that one truck that comes by to the village every few months, the one that collects waste oil to be reused as energy for the city." The arrogant Pakcik Hassan grumbled, "Ugh, too hard and messy. Like, who even does that, right?" Farhana, clearly hiding her anger, responded calmly, "I don't know, probably every other villager and bakery here." The once arrogant Pakcik Hassan slammed the door shut, his ego bruised. Farhana stood frozen, devastated. She hadn't lost the argument, but she had lost something way more valuable. A man who could have stood with them. As Pakcik Hassan slammed his door shut, Farhana dropped to her knees. Silent sobs escaped as her tears fell onto the very ground he had helped contaminate. The soil, once rich and alive, now drank her grief alongside with the waste. Moments later, her lifelong best friends, Aisha and Aziz, rushed to her side. Without a moment of thinking, Aisha knelt and embraced her. "It's okay, Farhana. That's just one less person. We'll keep going." Aziz, always the realist, stood beside them. Some people are just so arrogant, right? "It's okay, Farhana. We'll just clean up whatever mess he makes. Or just boycott his bread while we're at it." Farhana let out a shaky laugh, wiping her tears. "Thanks, everyone. I realize this is all something that needs teamwork." She stood, her voice steady. "Aziz, tell everyone. After evening prayers, were heading to the city hall. A new fire lit in her eyes. We've got some cleaning to do. The hall after evening prayers. After the crowd had gathered, Farhana finally spoke. Listen, everyone, today we're cleaning the village. She called proudly, inviting everyone to join. The villagers, reminded of the past warnings, raised their voices in one powerful calling. Let's clean the village for the river, the trees, the animals, and for us. Tears of joy welled in Farhana's eyes. At last, she was witnessing the village's revolution. The program ran smoothly. The kids and adolescents cleaned the river, then played joyfully in its fresh waters, while the adults monitored them and picked up larger garbage around the village's infrastructure, while the elderlies picked up smaller garbage around the village's wall. Now, 10 years later, Farna, now 25, had graduated from a prestigious university with a degree in environmental science. Together with Aziz, Aisha, and a few dedicated adults, they launched a campaign to visit other rural villages to teach them about the dangers of plastic and pollution, using their own village as a powerful example. In the end, it was Farhana and her friends who became the seeds of change, the quiet heroes who turned vision into action. And all it took for them was just a little touch of knowledge, discipline, and the unwavering support of others around them to help creating a better world. One molded by the dreams and watered by hope. Thank you. Terancam sangat rasa.
Thank you so much, Muhammad Norzal ID. That was an absolutely spectacular performance. Now, let's provide the judges some time to evaluate the participant. Next, I would like to call upon Deva Lakshana Anak Perempuan Vijaya Kumar from Real School Private National Senior. The stage is all yours.
A very good afternoon to all the judges. My name is Jyotsna Kumarajan from Senior School, Real National Senior School. I'll begin my story now. I turned back to look at the place I once called my home. Hunger and tears consumed me as I floated away slowly. Water. There was so much water. Why is there so much water? I looked at the piece of ice below my feet, which grew smaller and smaller by the minute. And so did I. Ever since I left home, approximately 10 days ago, I had lost so much weight, and I could feel my skin sagging down as I walked. I turned to look at the water, if you could even call it that. What was once blue and clear was now brown and murky. What I could once simply glance at to see how many seals and narwhals were having fun, I could barely even see my own reflection in. I must be very far from home by now. I see so many odd-looking creatures, but most of all, I see so many jellyfish? But the jellyfish I know don't look like that. Jellyfish were clear, with hints of color. Their many long tentacles, seeming harmless, but were actually powerful weapons. And their somewhat jerky, yet graceful motion as they glided through the water, claiming it their own. The jellyfish I saw, on the other hand, were all vibrantly colored. Some yellow, some pink, some blue, and some even as black as tar. Instead of having many long tentacles, they had two short ones, which folded back into their body, forming an O shape. And they didn't move as a jellyfish would. Instead, they floated around lifelessly at the top of the water. Poor creatures must be just as far from home as I am. Don't worry, little guys, I'll fight for us all. My journey was not at all easy. The sun was scorching hot, and I felt as though I might have just burst into flames from the heat, and my skin was the petrol that helped set it ablaze. The piece of ice I was floating on had completely melted, and I was forced to swim my way to land, to home. But the place I was standing at was not home. The snow here was completely different from the snow back at home. The snow at home was white in color, soft, cold, and as comforting as a mother's embrace. The snow here was the complete opposite. The snow was yellowish beige in color, coarse, and extremely hot. I ventured off to find food, trying to dismiss the awful snow, ignoring how much pain my feet were in because of it. Throughout my long journey, I have grown extremely hungry, but there were no seals, no walruses, and even though belugas weren't my most favorite meal, I would love to have one right now. I tried to venture for food, but all I could find were the odd-looking jellyfish I saw on my way here. Oh well, I was starving anyways. Might as well give it a go and try new cuisines. The jellyfish was very smooth and slippery in my mouth, very chewy and flexible as well. It took a couple minutes of chewing, but even so, it felt rough against my throat as I swallowed. I came across more and more of these jellyfish, eating all of them as I went on. It wasn't the best tasting thing in the world, but I couldn't care less. At that moment, I would have eaten my own best friend if I had to. As I was chewing, I felt something weird in my throat. I couldn't breathe anymore. What was going on? I tried to get the jellyfish that was stuck in my throat out, but it wouldn't budge. I tried to scream out for help, but it came out muffled, and I struggled to breathe even more. I felt my eyes flutter shut, and my body grow weaker. Around me, I could hear a lot of commotion. I felt a little bit of hope, hoping someone would come and help and save me. Oh my god, is that a polar bear? I think it's dying. It looks like the plastic bag got stuck in its throat. What is a polar bear even doing here? Huh, plastic bags must be a new species of jellyfish, I thought to myself. I wonder where their home is though. I saw these creatures everywhere. In land, on sea. I pray that jellyfish are able to go home and find their families, just like I hoped that I would. I felt my pulse get slower, my breath shortening. And soon enough, I went asleep, but this time, forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Neva. That was an exquisite story. We truly apologize as due to technical difficulties, we are currently unable to present the timer and the bell. Your understanding is much appreciated. Let's allow the judges some time to assess the participant. Again, thank you for that outstanding performance. Next, let us welcome Lena Natasha Mendoza from Philippine Science High School. Take it away.
Good afternoon. This piece is called Wounds. The hills were lush with dewy grass and I couldn't help running. As I ran, the faint image of the mountains embracing the sky slowly emerged. I was 10 years old then, and my family and I went camping. While I was running, I tripped on a rock and injured both my elbows. But I didn't do anything about it because I was taught that the time heals all wounds heal by themselves. The same as when you dig a pit in a forest floor, eventually through time, debris, dust, and detritus would build back the soil and heal the ground. So I didn't do anything to remedy the wound, only I wailed like a boar caught in a hunter's net and continued to run like nothing happened. Sure enough, as the hours went by, all that's left from the abrasion on my left elbow was a rough, protruding scab. They were like scattered hills on the plains on my skin and dark like the soil. As I pressed my fingers on the healing wound, I got reminded of how we were taught over and over again, time heals all wounds. And at that time, I believed it may be true. Now I remember how our men scratched the earth using trowels and shovels and digging bars to build cottages made of nickel palm and sheds made of bamboo. Time heals all wounds. How we dig the crust as we ram boreholes to extract water, gas, and petroleum. Time heals all wounds on our men. Stab lacerations deep into the earth's flesh. Building quarries after quarries, excavations after excavations, time heals all wounds, they say. So now, mining companies abandon pits after all the flesh, the charcoal, the ores of gold, copper, and iron is dug up. They bolt away like ants after taking the very last bits of sugar. They vanish. Now the earth's dermis sits here, punctured. With empty baskets we cannot fill, left idle and barren. We have nothing to fill these open pits, hundreds of meters wide and hundreds of meters deep, because you and I know that we cannot fill it with money or tears or meek promises of land rehabilitation. Time heals all wounds healed by themselves, they say. But what humanity fails to understand is that there is a difference between a simple scratch, a simple nick, and a deep laceration. There is a difference between a borehole for pumping water and an open pit mine, hundreds of meters wide and hundreds of meters deep. The earth is a human with its own skin, veins, and flesh. But the surface and it'll bleed, grow scabs, and struggle to heal, cut too deep, and it'll leave a permanent mark, a permanent hole, a permanent scar. When I was 10, I tripped and injured both my elbows, and on my right elbow sits an open pit mine, a few millimeters wide and a few millimeters deep. At night, at the camping site, I watched the fireflies linger through the foliage of trees, each firefly like a drop of golden honey. As I traced my fingers on the open wound, a piercing, a throbbing pain pierced into my tender flesh. Finally, I thought of the betadine I should have dabbed on the cut, of the cotton gauze and band-aid I should have wrapped on the puncture. And I thought of all the unhealed wounds the earth has endured for so many hundreds of generations. We cannot bring back the soil stolen from these pits, cannot bring back the old contours of the earth's skin, but we can bring back its life. Because yes, maybe time does heal wounds, but wounds may not heal by themselves. Maybe one seed at a time we will fill these pits with dewy grass and hope that one day the children wouldn't stop running. Thank you.
Thank you, Neva. That was an exquisite story. Like always, let's give the judges a moment to review the participant. Due to technical difficulties, we are unable to present the timer. However, the timer can be viewed on the top right corner or left corner of your devices. The bell will be rung once your 7 minutes is up. Again, apologies for the inconvenience caused. Now, please welcome our next participant, Dogaira Rama from Kisha Loya Adarsha Shiksha Naiktin. You may begin now. Apologies, there was a mishap on our side. Next up, I would like to invite Nurul Aiza binti Azman from Mahat Tafiz Darul Hikmah to present her performance. You may begin now.
No? Hi everyone, I'm Isa. Have you ever wondered what happens when you hold a seed for the first time in your life? Today allow me to tell you all a tale about a journey and growth of unexpected strength. I present to you the seed beneath the stone. I was 10 when I first held a seed in my hand. It wasn't golden, nor did it glow. It was just a small, dusty thing, hardly bigger than a grain of rice. Nothing much about it, or so I thought. I remember sitting next to my grandmother in her garden, the smell of earth thick in the air. She placed the seed on my palm and whispered something I never forgot. Every change, she said, begins quietly. Back then, I thought she meant the plant. That if I watered it, gave it sun, it would grow into something tall and beautiful. I never imagined that one day her words would become the heartbeat of my life. You see, I was never the loudest in class. I didn't win medals or even speak on stages. I was the quiet one. The one who drew words in notebooks and listened more than I talked. Back then, people didn't expect much from the quiet ones. But change doesn't knock on doors with trumpets. It comes slowly, like rain after a drought, like courage in the chest of a girl who decides that one day she's gonna speak up. For me, that day came in Form 3. Our class was assigned a group project. You know, the one that everyone says, let the smart ones lead. And so they did, until no one listened. Arguments broke, chaos unfolded, and in that storm, I did something that even I was surprised. I raised my voice. Everyone stunned. No one dared to say a word. At that moment, even I was stunned upon my action. I look at my classmates, looking curious for what I'm going to do next. As my heart started pounding with courage, I asked for silence. I offered a plan, divided the work, encouraged the weak, and reminded the strong. In the end, we finally finished our project. And when the teacher smiled at us and said, "Good job, well done," it wasn't the grade that made my heart swell. It was the realization that inside me something had grown. A seed had broken through the stone. Uh, a seed had broken through the stone. From that moment on, I stopped. From that moment on, I stopped hiding behind the silence. I joined clubs. I volunteered. I auditioned for the public speaking contest. I even started tutoring a junior who struggled with reading. And one day, that same junior stood in front of the whole school and read a poem fluently with pride. That that was the moment I realized change doesn't always mean revolutions. Sometimes it looks like a shy girl trying to stand a little taller. It's easy to think that change belongs to the powerful, to leaders, or even heroes in history books. But I believe that change lives in every one of us, in the choices we make, the courage we give, and the kindness we give, and the courage we plant in someone else. My grandmother's garden doesn't bloom like it used to. She's older now, spending most of the time on her rocking chair. Weeds have crept in. The flower beds lie patchy and dull. Um, but one thing remains, a little mango tree, grown from the very seed she gave me. Its roots dig deep, stubborn against the wind. Its leaves reach for the sky, unafraid of rain or sun. And sometimes, when I visit, I sit beneath it and wonder, what if we are all seeds? What if the world needs not more noise, but more silent courage? Not giants who move mountains, but everyday people who lift hearts. I once thought I was too small to matter. Now I know even the smallest seed can crack the hardest stone. And that's all for my story today. I hereby end my speech with thank you.
Nurul, that was a beautiful performance. Do give the judges a minute to assess the participant accordingly. Next up, we have the participant from Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Sultan Omar, Bu Xiao Fen. The floor is now yours.
Testing. A very good morning to the honorable judges and fellow audience. My name is Bun Selfin and I'll be sharing a story entitled The Wyvern Roost. A long time ago, in a state called the Wyvern Roost, the people live in constant fear. Every moment, especially at dawn, they were inching on thin ice with the wyverns spiraling on top of the trees called weepers. But people never knew the reason behind the constant presence of the wyverns. The wyverns always let out a loud, thunderous roar each time they see the people. Considering the fact that a wyvern has the size of 100 men, the people never tried to retaliate each time they were roared at. However, a wyvern was flying peculiarly this one dawn It seems as if it was losing control. Then suddenly, it fell on top of a weaver and died. Since then, the people knew that the wyverns were vulnerable to the weaver's branches. They started making arrows and lances using the branches. The weavers always let out a shape on each broken branch. The people even took the dead wyvern skin and turned it into armor. And this is where the weaver's name came from. In the land of weaver, there was a dog that always tried to stop anyone who cuts down the weavers. The people were so enthusiastic about making arrows that the weavers started depleting in numbers until there was only one weaver left. One of the people tried to cut down the last remaining branch. The dog barked at him, trying to stop him, but he kept ignoring it. The dog stopped barking, not to quit, but instead he bit the man's leg. Out of pain and shock, he mercilessly swung his machete at the dog and instantly killed it. Due to panic, he left the scene and forgot all about the branches. Luckily, a little boy named Chuli saw everything. He bolted towards the dog to bury it, to honor its noble death and bravery. He wanted to bury it under the weaver, which was the very last thing he died protecting. As he was digging the grave, he was dazzled by the constantly changing vibrant color from under the soil. So he kept digging and digging to see how it was. To his surprise, it was a colorful fruit with the size of his head. Out of curiosity, he slowly tried to touch it. Suddenly, he heard a whisper. He was so shocked that he launched his shovel into the air. He was the only human there at the time, so he was actively trying to find the source of the whisper, which kept telling him, "We need your help, little boy. Hey, we are right here." To his surprise yet again, it was the roots were whispering in unison. Chilling asked, How do I help you?" The roots said, "The wyverns are in grave danger. A deadly plague is spreading among their kind, and most of them are dying on each passing day. And the only way to cure it is by the fruit you just saw." Chuling was taken aback from what he just heard. He asked, "Why are you only telling me this now? Why didn't you tell me earlier or anyone from the beginning?" Gerbu said, "We tried, but the weeping shrieks from our branches were way too loud for our whisper." "So the wyverns never tried to harm us?" asked Chuling. Gerbu said, "They never will and they never try. The roar you hear each time is a roar for help." After listening to everything, Shuling realized that the wyvern needs humans' help to feed them the food. The fruit are just way too small for their gigantic claw, so they would just squash the fruit before they could even do anything with them. So Shuling then decided to help and asked, "What should I do now?" The Guru said, "Take the last two remaining fruit with you and wait for the wyverns the next dawn. Once you see them, wave their fruit at them. They will take you to their place. Once you get there, plant the fruit so more weepers will grow. With more weepers, more fruit will grow. And don't you worry, the fruit grows really, really fast. It only takes a few hours for a weeper to grow. Put the fruit in your pouch so it will be easier for you to carry." Dawn then arrived, and so did a wyvern. The little boy waved the fruit vigorously at the wyvern. The wyvern then came down for the boy. Upon seeing the wyvern at an idle and vulnerable state, the people started shooting arrows at it. The wyvern was hit. Chuling ran through the crossfire to get to the wyvern as fast as he could. Unfortunately, one of the arrows hit his back. With his final ounce of strength, he took one of the two fruits out of his pouch and fed it to the wyvern before he lost consciousness. The wyvern grabbed Chuling and took him back to the wyvern's land. Luckily, a wyvern's embrace could heal humans' ailments. Once Chuling woke up, he planted the last remaining fruit. Once it ripened up, he fed it to one of the plague wyvern. He did this until there was a land of weepers. just like how it was back at Wyvern Roost. Soon then, all of the wyvern was healed. But Julie still decided to stay to take care of the wyvern. From that day on, the wyverns never visited the Wyvern Roost ever again. Ladies and gentlemen, the moral of this story is fear often comes from misunderstanding. When we choose empathy and try to listen with an open heart, we can find peace where there was once fear. I hope you enjoy listening to my story. Thank you.
That performance left me speechless. Thank you. Let's provide the judges some time to evaluate the participant. Now, we invite the participant from Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Perempuan Sri Aman, Siti Zarah binti Fairoz, to knock us off our feet. You may now begin.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, is my audio stable?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, honorable judges. My name is Siti Zahra binti Waman Faris, and I'm from SMK Sri Aman. And today I'll be presenting my story called Planted in Silence. And I hope you enjoy. Have you ever felt invisible? Like, no matter what you do, you're in the shadows, like a polar bear lost in the Amazon. Well, I'm sure we've all felt that way sometimes. This is the story of Fifi, who found herself exactly there, lost, unsure, and far from where she belonged. But sometimes, even a polar bear can find a tree, and that tree will be the seed that changed her life. Now, it was just a cottage, sitting nearly in the middle of nowhere, but still enough to be somewhere. A place where sunlight streamed in through the windows, where the sound of raindrops pattered overhead, and where rainbows painted the skies with such bright fluorescent colors, and the green grass met the forget-me-not blue above just perfectly. Yet, no matter how fairy-like a place may seem, it can't heal a grieving heart. After losing her parents, it felt like the sky itself was falling. The sunlight, the rain, the rainbows, even the grass in the sky, they all seemed to just, well, disappear, just like she did inside, completely invisible. Fifi's parents were never rich, but they gave her what they had: a small cottage, food on the table, and above all, their love. And now with both, and nothing could replace that love. And now, with both gone from sudden illness, all she felt was emptiness. At 9 years old, you might wonder how she managed alone that cottage. The family's poverty kept them far from town and far from the world of police and licenses. Her parents had built the cottage themselves, hidden enough to be invisible, but not forgotten. Now, Fifi was safe but lonely. But despite her loss, she still went to school, hoping to graduate and especially to survive. Hours at school passed quickly, but not because of friends or fun, but because her mind drifted into a fog. Only during lessons did she feel present. But otherwise, no teacher or friend could pull her back. She kept them out. It was the only way to stop the pain. Until one day, everything changed. As she was walking home, trying to stay present and trying to accept her parents' fate, she reached her front door. Suddenly, her hands slipped into the pockets of her mother's old skirt. Suddenly, her fingers felt something rough, or was it tiny? Could it be a beetle, perhaps? Or no, maybe money. Curious, she pulled it out. A seed rested in her small palm. Suddenly, her head began to burn hot. Every fiber in her body strung with fury. She wanted to scream, to yell that life was unfair. Why her? Why not someone else? Here she realized what she held wasn't money. It was just a tiny, useless seed. She flung it to the ground and slammed her fist down. Tears streamed everywhere. What was the point of it all? As the hours passed, her tears slowed, and she managed to pull herself together. For days, Fifi cried in the same spot, confused by this one seed, a tiny promise she didn't yet understand. Maybe it was hope, or maybe it was just a reminder that life could still surprise her when all felt lost. One day, she noticed a bright green stalk growing where she cried. She gently touched the small plant, tears falling again, maybe from frustration, maybe from regret, or maybe from wonder at what it could really become. And over months, that stalk grew into a strong and living tree. The next year, in fifth grade, Fifi noticed a boy with long lashes paired with tired and red eyes. Daniel. Like her, he seemed invisible and alone. One day, she sat beside him at recess, and they quietly found comfort in each other. Walking home together, a seed fell from her pocket. She showed Daniel the willow tree that had grown and gave him a seed to hold. And suddenly, Daniel, he began to cry, and Fifi wasn't sure what to do. But one thought came to her mind. Gently, she took his hand. She guided it to the ground, and together they planted the seed in the soil. And quietly she sat beside him, comforting him in silence as he sobbed softly. As the years passed, their trees grew taller, and so did their friendship and healing. And every day, Fifi sat beneath the tree, sometimes silently sobbing, sometimes sharing stories she couldn't tell to anyone else, and sometimes she hugged the tree, wishing it were the hug that she had gotten from her father. Sometimes she kissed its bark, longing for the love she really missed from her mother. Slowly, the branches grew around her like a sort of embrace, as if the tree itself were holding her close. And some nights, she dreamed of the soft swishing of the tree just outside her bedroom window, whispering her name. Eventually, that feeling of invisibility faded away. She was finally someone, and she was finally seen and heard. Years later, the tree stood tall and strong, just like their friendship. And one day, beneath the branches that had witnessed their healing, Fifi and Daniel married. And it all roots back to the two seeds that had sprouted the beginning of their journey. That's all from me. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed my story.
I have to say, Siti, you really did knock us off our feet. Thank you for your presentation. Let's give our judges a minute to evaluate the speech. All right, everyone. Are you excited to hear from our next participant? Well then, without further ado, allow me to welcome the next participant from Sekolah Menengah Atas Negeri 10 Samarinda, Binar Kanti Pambayon, to the stage. You may now begin.
Before I start, can you hear my voice clearly?
Yes, I can.
All right. Then I will start my storytelling in 3, 2, 1. Hello everyone, my name is Binarkanti Pambayin and I'm from SMA Negeri 10 Samarinda, Indonesia. And today I want to tell you a story about an endemic animal from my province is Kalimantan that we call Pesun. And the title of the story is Pesun Kingdom. Let's begin. In the deep of Kalimantan forest, there exist two great kingdoms. One was under the river, lived by Pesun, and the other was on the land, lived by people of the land. Back then, Pesun used to live not only in the Mahakam upstream, but all along the Mahakam River with the humans. But sadly, humans were the one who destroyed the Mahakam River and put their life in danger by throwing trash to the river. At first, it's just one person, and then the next day two, the next day three, and it kept going until the river condition became worse. And because of that, a great war occurs between the Pesu Kingdom and the humans, led by the King of Lands for years until now. The princess, the King of Lands' daughter, Nara, was born in the middle of the war and saw a lot of people killing each other since she was young. Though living like that, she was still a kind and lovely girl. But the little princess has a little secret. Even though her race were really hates the person, the princess' best friend was a person. Her name was Balawa. Both of them were really hates the war. So they secretly spreading awareness about how destructive the war is and trying to stop the war. One day, Nora remembered, she had an appointment with Balawa. So she went to their secret place. Turns out, she didn't find Balawa there. So she got closer to the river, hoping she would be there. But instead of Balawa, a bunch of Masun suddenly appeared and started screaming at her. Humans! Everyone! Humans! How dare humans escape to our land? Everyone, finish her! And then, without any warning, they start chasing her until she got to the war border area. From far, Nara saw her father and Pasuk were fighting. Father! She screamed as she tried to get closer to him. But before that, something grabbed her arm and dragged her away. It was the Pasuk King. Her father, who saw it, immediately got panicked and ran to her. Don't you dare, Pasuk King! She has nothing to do with this! Let her go! Never! I will kill her now! Hearing all of that, Balawa, who had been looking for Nara all this time, seeing all the chaos and trying to stop her father, the Pasuk King. Unfortunately, at the time, the Pasuk King was already raised his spear and threw it to Nara. And instead of Nara, Balawa was the one who got stabbed by her own father's spear. She fell to the ground immediately. Everyone went silent before Nara broke it by screaming and crying, holding her best friend called Bunny. You're all just the same. Never give her orders and always come home with your ego first. Oh, Sylvia, alive. This war never happened. Father, you are kidding. They done. Point of the war. Only souls have to go. Then she stood up from the ground and said, you all should have realized that this war only brings misery to us. But I think none of you are blind enough to see it. So I hope by experiencing it by yourself, you could finally realize what kind of things that Balawa and I have been fighting for. Then she took the spear that killed Balawa and stabbed it to herself. Both princesses died. And now the king realized that this war never bring anything to them. They agreed to end the war. And now the humans who at first always throwing trash to the river start to care with their environment. And Pasut always just violence, try to think first before they act. And now they are starting a new era with hope and peace. The end. The moral play of the story, and remember that you are living side by side with other beings in this world. That's why you should always care with everything around you. Sometimes a small care and compassion, like Balawa and her friendship, could be a seed to change something so much bigger. Their love with the world they are living in could make Pasut and humans realize their mistakes and starting a new era together. Even though they used to have a really bad relationship before, remember, it's never too late to change. All right? Thank you so much for listening. I hope you all enjoyed it. And thank you so much. Bye bye.
That was a wonderful performance. Thank you, Binar, for that beautiful story. Let's allow our judges to assess the participant. Now, please welcome the next participant, Dogaira Rama from Kishaloya Ardasha Shiksha Naitan. You may begin now.
Before starting, may I know if you can hear or see me clearly?
Yes, we can hear and see you clearly.
Okay, then let's start my speech. 1, 2, 3. Assalamu alaikum and good morning, respected judges and dear friends. They say the greatest power often hides in the smallest of things. A tiny drop of water shapes a stone, and a single flame can start a wildfire. But a seed, tiny and buried, often holds the beginning of something new. But let me ask you something. Have you ever planted a seed? Not into the soil, but into someone's soul. I grew up in a small village where the sun was harsh and dreams even faded before the puddles on summer. No one talked about change. We simply got by and we survived. Until one day, our teacher, who was wise, gentle, elderly, came to our class with a sack full of mango seeds. Today, she said with a smile, we'll plant something that will live longer than us. We laughed. How could something grow on such a hard and dry land? But she wasn't only giving us seeds, she was giving us hopes and beliefs. I took my seed home. The soil behind my house was cracked and stubborn. My hands were small. Anyways, I dug a hole and planted it. Each morning, I watered that spot and talked to it as it could hear me. Days passed, weeks passed, but nothing happened. Some of my friends gave up, and honestly, I almost did too. But one morning, I saw it, a tiny plant, cracking through the soil, scratching toward the sky like it had always belonged there. That moment didn't just feel magical, it changed me. In that little plant, I saw my own unseen efforts, my silent faith finally taking roots. That seed didn't just grow in the soil, it grew something inside me. That changes are possible if we try. Years have passed, the tree is bigger now. I'm not also a child anymore, so I live far from home. But my mother says, people and children sit in the shade of that tree. Birds build their nest on its branches, but no one remembers who planted it. But I do, because that's what change of seeds actually looks like. It doesn't demand credit. Because someone dared to believe, sit steadily, quietly, with love. I learned that change rarely comes with applause. It begins in silence, in patience, with the decision to keep nurturing something when nothing shows up. People say the real change is fast and flashy. But the truth, no. The real change is slow, it's hidden, it's lonely. It's the girl who teaches her father how to read and write his own name. It's the boy who plants a seed to honor that friend he lost. It's a young woman who whispers to herself, I will not be limited by what the world expects of me. Not all seed will grow. Some will be lost, some will be stepped on. But some will rise because someone like you didn't stop trying. We all carry seeds within us, but the question is, what are we planting? Hate or love? Anger or understanding? Fear or courage? Fear or courage? Because the real change is slow, it's hidden. If we try like this, that change can shift a moment, that can change a life, that can start a ripple across the world. And I still wonder, how many seeds have you all even planted without knowing? I may begin with a mango seed, but what I truly planted was beliefs, hopes, and possibilities. That changes are possible. So today, I ask you, plant something, a kind word, a smile, a breakthrough, even if the soil looks dry, even if the world feels unkind. Because someday, somewhere, someone will rest under the shadow, something that you held you with your own heart. And in that moment, the world will change. Softly, deeply, and beautifully. Thank you. My speech ends here. Thank you everyone for listening to me and Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for that performance, Nogara. Let's allow our judges to assess the participant. And with that, we have come to the end of the prepared storytelling round of the SAEYLS 2025 storytelling competition. I will now pass the mic to Keisha for a short briefing for the new round.
Hello everyone, good job for the prepared storytelling. And right now I'm going to have a short brief for the impromptu storytelling. So for impromptu storytelling, there will be 2 breakout rooms and 1 main room. The first breakout room is the waiting room where all the participants are going to be here. And for the preparing, and then the second breakout room is the preparing room where the participants are going to be given their prompts and you guys will have 5 minutes to prepare. And then the last room is the main room where participants will have to present their impromptu storytelling for 3 minutes. Is there any question for impromptu storytelling? You guys can just turn on your mic or ask in the chat. Okay, if there isn't, then thank you and good luck to everyone.
Thank you, Keisha. Everyone, please be back in this call by 2:55 p.m. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, now we will be continuing our competition today with round 2, which is impromptu storytelling. To quickly brief on how this round will go, the contestants will be given a topic and are needed to pair it with the provided scenery. Contestants will be given 5 minutes to prepare for this round. Each story must be presented no longer than 3 minutes. A warning bell will ring once at the 2nd minute mark and twice at the 3rd minute mark. To carry this out, 3 breakout rooms will be used. The participants will be moved into the first breakout room, which is the waiting room. After that, you will be moved into the second breakout room, which is the preparation room. Then, you will be moved back into the main room, where you will be delivering your impromptu storytelling. Hello, participants. The participants have now moved to the waiting room. Please wait for around 5 minutes for the participant to prepare their impromptu round. The participant will be back in the main room to present their speech. Thank you.
Test mic 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me clearly? Hello.
Let's welcome our first participant from Sekolah Menengah Islam IQKL, titled The Night Forest. Muhammad Nur Zaidi, the stage is yours.
Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning. My name is Zal Aidi from SMI IQKL, here to tell you a story with the title of Moonlight. Oh, studying is so busy. You know, actually, teacher was just really angry at me. Why? Because I failed at public speaking. I was really brave, especially at sports, but I can't do well in things in academics. I was so shy in front of others. I wonder why. Ryan, sitting in front of Razik, also said something similar. I also failed debate last year. I wish I could turn back time and learn on how to get more brave. Like seriously, I'm so good at teaching others and all, but I think in terms of bravery, I'm really out. Hey, Razi, what is that? Suddenly, the light, the moonlight showed a portal to somewhere else. The two immediately entered it without a moment of thinking. This place is foggy. Wait, are we in the woods? Yeah, we are in the woods. I think so. Wait, what is that? Both of them were shocked. Animals such as owls, foxes, are looking at them, like making death stares at them. They were running, scared. How? How are animals looking so wise? They look so comforting yet so scary. They were so terrifying, in fact, that they looked like they were about to speak, which they did. Listen, we picked both of you so that you could learn how to become the bravest person. We know that you will become an independent leader soon. Both of them were shocked. All of their life, they were really good at academics, ex- excelling them in almost all of their life. But they were never seen as good in terms of bravery, especially in social things such as debates and public speaking. So they were shocked. Are you sure you are animals? Can you really teach us? They were really shocked. But what they don't know is the level of wisdom these animals have. Listen, bravery is not just something that can be bought. It is from experience. Join something. Learn from teachers. Your teachers are really good. You can depend on them. Trust me. Bravery is one of the most important aspects in life. In all of their life, both of the students thought that bravery is something that's not important. Then, suddenly, the portal took them back to the world. Suddenly, the warden called them asking for help. The police came. Really? How? Why? Turns out there's a bully, which actually there isn't. It was just something faked by the juniors. They too were forced to explain it to the police. After a few minutes of discussion, they have explained it with full bravery and helped save their school name. In the end, they realized how bravery is one of the most important, strongest aspects humanity have, and how lacking it could really undevelop their life. They also were really grateful of how the animals, they don't even know if they're true or not, if they're real or not. But what was real was what happened to them, what was given to them, which is what? Bravery. Thank you.
Thank you, Muhammad Nurzal ID. That was an excellent performance. Judges, the stage is yours to deliberate and evaluate.
Let's welcome Wan Ezra Arif bin Nur Hisham from Sekolah Tuanku Abdul Rahman to deliver his speech titled The Disappearing Forest. Ezra, the stage is yours.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
One mysterious morning, four group of teenagers was walking behind a train station when they found a thick green forest that looked like something is magical inside of it. When they were walking inside the thick forest, at first it was magical, but when they tried to go back, the path vanishes. Then they tried to find clue if it had almost been scattered throughout the whole forest. They then found a mysterious door that shines light out of nowhere. One teenager steps in and the other follow him. Once they entered the door, they found out they had teleported to a different universe, where every human looks very different than the humans in the reality. They then asked the person in there if they know how to get out. But the human there replied with a mumbling and a very different language. But luckily, a mysterious shaman stood up to them and said, if you want to go back, you have to face something that you have been avoiding this whole time. The mysterious shaman asked them to follow her and brought them to her house. She then asked them to complete a few side quests in order to go back to the world. After a few days, they has finally completed the side quests that had been assigned to them. They finally stepped inside a portal that shines purple light. And once they step into the door, they are finally back into the world. And they are very relieved and they went back to their house. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wan Ezra, for that jaw-dropping speech. What a way to kick off our impromptu round. Let's allow the judges a minute or two to assess that remarkable speech. Let's wait for the next participant to join the room. Next, let us welcome Jotsana Kumarendran from Real School Private National Senior to deliver her speech entitled The Forest of Forgotten Things. Whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon to the judges and the audience. I am Jyotsna Kumarendran from Real National Private Senior School. And today my topic is the forest of forgotten things. I grew up in a situation where escaping has always been the most natural thing to me. Whenever a situation became hard, all I did was escape. I ran away. It's been natural to me. It's all I could do. This particular day, things were very hard. My parents were fighting. I had just gotten my result back for a test I studied so hard for, but I failed. When things became hard, I did what I always did. I escaped. Today, I ran off into the forest behind our house. I had never done that before. It seemed scary, but I needed this. I needed to do this. I ran deep, straight into the dark forest, not caring about a single thing. No matter how scared I was, I just kept running. Eventually, I found a log. I sat down and just spilled my heart out. I cried and cried. Then I noticed something. In the corner, I could see a shimmering light deeper into the forest. Suddenly, it was like I had entered a whole new realm. I was now in a playroom. The walls were colorful, and on the screen, I could see my old memories replaying. I saw a bunch of my old toys, and I read storybooks about my thoughts when I was younger. This room felt comforting. For someone who has never held onto anything, this whole place was calling my name until I saw one object in particular, my childhood teddy bear named Mr. Fluffings. It was like he was calling my name. I had felt so safe in this room, so secure. I walked towards the teddy bear and I held it in my hands. I realized that sometimes escaping isn't always the way. It's always good to hold onto your feelings and face the problem. I closed my eyes and suddenly I appeared back in my room under my covers. I'm not going to run away anymore. I'm not going to escape. I will face my feelings and confront situations. That's all for my speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Jotsna. That was an amazing performance. I will now give it to the judges to begin their assessment of the participants. Now, please wait for the next participant to enter the room. Apologies to keep you waiting. There was a technical difficulty from the participant side. The next participant will enter the room soon. Thank you. We will now be proceeding with our next participant, Bun Xiaofen from SMK Sultan Omar, with their speech entitled The Hidden Path. You may start.
A very good day to the honorable judges and fellow audience. My name is Bunselvan and I will be sharing a story. One day, I was at my grandfather's attic. In that attic, I found a box. That box was old and full of dust. When I opened it, I saw a book. And that book is titled The Hidden Path. It was about a teenager, a group of teenagers walking from home after a tiring day from school. As they were walking, they saw a flashing light from the bushes. But so, out of curiosity, they went to explore. They went through the bush. To his surprise, to their surprise, it was a hidden path. So they kept walking and walking and walking to find out what was the light. To their surprise, there was a glowing flower and talking animals. They didn't know where they were, they didn't know what they were gonna do, and most of all, they didn't know what had happened. As they were walking, a fox came near them and thought, "Hey, do you wanna grab a cup of tea and maybe have a friendly sleepover?" And as a teenager, we are all very adventurous, so they just positively accepted it. And at first, they thought the fox was very nice and very friendly, so they didn't hesitate anymore and just drank the tea. And we then drank the tea. It has a dash of honey. And suddenly, they felt dizzy and dizzy and dizzy until they become a small goblin. They didn't know what to do, but one of them, my grandfather, as a teenager, he thought we should try eating the glowing flower. And poof, they turned back into a normal-sized teenager. But without thinking twice, they ran away from the bushes. They didn't want to know what had happened and what shouldn't. And as that, I just closed the book, wondering what had happened. Until this day, they never knew what is behind the bush and how come the and so on. And with that, thank you. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you for that wonderful speech. Now, let us allow our fellow judges to evaluate this wonderful speech. Now, let us wait for our next participant to enter the room. Let's all give a warm welcome to our next participant, Siti Zara binti Fairuz from SMKP Sri Aman to give away their story entitled The Hidden Path. You may start.
Oh, sorry. Am I audible?
Yes.
It's clear. Um,
Good afternoon, esteemed judges. Today I'm going to present my story called The Kingdom of Arabella. Once upon a time, there lived two girls named Jane and Zoe. They were the best of duos, and they only operated together because they were actually born together at the same time since childbirth. So that kind of explained a lot of their whole journey. So one day, before the start of the school holidays, Zoe and Jane thought to themselves, well, all of our holidays seems to be so repetitive, and I wonder what would be so interesting as to happen this time. Um, they went to their teacher, and usually after their school holidays, they tell the teachers about what they've gone through, and they really told this time they told Miss Susan that they really hoped for a more adventurous sort of holiday. So as we were walking home, Zoe noticed an orange cat, and for some weird reason, it had a slight pink stripe at the end of its tail. She was curious. Was it like a slight mislook or was it an actual cat? So she followed the cat along with Jane by her side. They suddenly find a bush that seemed to be covered with these pink sprinkles of dust. Or was it glitter? They proceeded to walk down the pathway that seemed to take place after the bush. And they were led behind some vines into a cave that sort of led them into an opening of some sort of mystical world. Over there, they saw the first thing they were greeted by was this sort of huge looking cat, except it wasn't a cat. It was a blue tiger. Yes, you heard me right. It was a blue and sparkling tiger. They were really, they were taken aback and they didn't know what to think. Zoe exclaimed, "Oh my God, is that a tiger?" And the tiger replied to her, "Yes, I am in fact a tiger." And Jane replied, "Oh my God, I can speak?" And the tiger said, "Yes, we can in fact speak." And that is how they were introduced to the kingdom of Arabella. They proceeded on into their journey into the kingdom of Arabella, and they came across so many more of these pink dusted sort of fantastical trees. They wondered what they were for, and they asked talking animals around there what they were for. It turns out that this source of pink glittery dust became their only sort of hope to save Arabella from the only danger that was about to happen to them. The danger of King Triton. He was supposed to come from the underground world where all the animals live, and he wanted to ambush them because he wanted more space in more land instead of living under the sea. That's how I'm going to end my story. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you for that wonderful story, Siti Zahra. Before we move on, let's allow our judges to assess the performance. Please kindly wait for our next participant to enter the room. Now, I would like to call upon our next participant, Bina Kanti Pambayun from SMA Negeri 10 Samarinda to the stage to deliver their story entitled A Birthday Gift.
Before I start, can you hear my voice clearly?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Pinantandi Papayu, and today I want to tell you a story. And the story title is The Tree Hollow. Once upon a time, there lived three teenagers. One of them named Anna, Amir, and Suji. In one day, on Anna's birthday, they decide to go to the jungle to go camping there. They are singing, dancing, and burning up some marshmallow to enjoy their day. At night, they decide instead to go to sleep, they decide to go exploring the jungle, exploring the jungle. When they are exploring, they realize that the trees around them looking kind of strange. So when they got closer to the tree, suddenly the trees are speaking. Hello, humans. I'm the magic tree. If you are took care of me every time and always water me all the time, I will give you a special gift from my hollow. Are you agree to take care of me every time? And then the teenagers agreed to take care of the trees all the time. Every morning they go to the jungle to water the trees, the trees, and always having so much fun near the trees until when they do it every time and they do it every week, and then when the time comes, finally from the trees hollow they receive a lot of money from that. But even though like that, they always keep it as a secret because they don't want everyone who have a bad intention to the tree come to the tree and make the tree become not make the tree to become broken. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening, and bye bye.
Thank you, Bina Kanti, for that outstanding performance. Let's set aside some time for our judges to assess the performance accordingly. Now, please kindly wait for our next participant to enter the room.
Hello?
Next up, we have Nogaira Rahma from Pishaloya Adarsha Shiksha Nektin to deliver her story entitled The Forest of Friendly Giants. I will pass the floor to Nogaira to begin her presentation.
Okay, thank you. Now I may begin. Ryan was 14 years old. He was actually quiet and he didn't talk much, but he was always curious about finding something new. Always he thought he was busy in thoughts alone, like what if I found something like this, found something like that. One day, while he was coming from school, he suddenly saw a butterfly. After after that, he followed that butterfly, and after following the butterfly, he didn't even realize that he was going deeper and deeper. Suddenly, he realized that when the butterfly was gone, he realized that the butterfly is not anymore here, and he's after looking around, he realized that he's in a forest now. So he thought, I always like to find new things. So what about I go deeper and deeper? And what about I invent something or discover something new? Oh, so he went through the forest and he saw a birds building a nest. He saw a fox sitting on a stone, and then he saw some butterfly flying over them. Then there was the rock where it was written, "Only the lost may find the hardwood. Be kind, be brave, be true." And after seeing that sign, he went through the thing again and again. After that, he saw a cave where there was written for, and in that cave he saw his flawless past and his angers, his understandings. He saw there something like that, and he asked, why am I the one who always saying this? And a voice came from a sound, and it was like, because you listened. Then Ryan left the forest. Everything had changed. Now, not outside. School was still tough, but now he was strong because he discovered something like, if we be true, if we be courageous, and we will see something. He returned to the forest sometimes not to enjoy, not to only see the views, but to enjoy that. He realized that if he can be alone, he can discover something, he can enjoy something. He understand that that's where he actually belonged. Even the world didn't always understand you. There's always a forest waiting for you, once who listens. That means there's always someone who will always listen to you. Even if you don't talk to someone, who won't you listen? But there's always someone who will listen to you, even if it's a forest, even if it's a tree. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
That was a striking performance, Nogaira. Thank you for your presentation. I'll give the floor to the esteemed judges to evaluate the contestant. Now, please wait for the next participant to join the room.
Shall I start?
Now, please welcome the next participant, Lina Natasha Mendoza from Philippines Science High School with a speech entitled The Night Forest. You may begin now.
Thank you. Father has already turned off the light. It is nighttime, and everyone is asleep. The night is dark and dreary. But Miriam couldn't sleep. She was haunted by the thoughts of leaving the village their mother died. And so she snuck into her bed sheets and hoped that morning would come. She closed her eyes, but still the haunting thoughts haunted her. Suddenly, an owl, a sound, an owl perched onto her window and knocked on the windowsill. The owl said, and so, with curiosity, Miriam went into the window, opened the window, and looked at the owl. Owl had big, big eyes and feathers as soft as the water. The owl said, "Come with me. I will move you to a place that you will find comfort." By this talking owl, Miriam was shocked. She had never seen an owl that could talk before. But because of the dreary things she has experienced in her room, she followed the owl. Suddenly, the whole room seemed to collapse, and then a rugged, unpaved path formed before her, with the owl flying above it. And so Miriam followed this path. And there, as she was walking, she met a fox. "Oh," said the fox. And the fox said, "Are you scared of me?" And Miriam said, "No, I'm not scared of you." "Why?" asked the fox. "Because I already have so much things in mind." "But will you continue?" the fox asked. "But I think I have to go back," said Miriam. "I need to go back." "But why?" "My parents the morning will probably come soon, and I have to go back because my parents are waiting for me. We are going to move somewhere else, some place that I don't even know." And the firefly said, "Then if
That was an absolutely wonderful performance. Now that we are done with the presentation, let's continue with the evaluation by the judges. Now, please kindly wait for our next participant to enter the room. Without further ado, let's all welcome Nurul Izzah binti Azman from Mahat Tafiz Darul Hikmah with a speech entitled The Rainy Day Forest. You may begin your story now.
Sini kita nak repeat. Hi everyone, I'm Isa. One day, Kasim and Aman came home from a very tiring day at school. They were building a pillow fort at home. They were tired when they finished the pillow fort. They were tired and they decided to sleep in it. And when they woke up, they were suddenly woken up by the sound of rain in a magical forest. When they got out, they saw that they were in a magical forest that was surreal with and filled with magical creatures. They decided to look around and they began to explore. Um, they found a magical creature who could they found a magical creature who brought them to a river where They found a magical creature who brought them to a river where the I'm sorry. Uh, they were brought to a magical river where the weather was really nice. There was no rain, and the sun was shining bright. And the sun followed them everywhere they went. Not because it was hot, but it's like it uh it showed like uh they well the weather is really nice, and they decided to have a swim where they found a magical cave. And in that cave, they went through when they found the cave and they explored the cave, and they found a door which led them back to the real world. And when one thing they realized from that journey is was it made them more from that journey it made them more confident in what they were doing, and uh they brought light into their life. That is all from me. Thank you.
Thank you for the awesome delivery, Iza. Now, allow our judges to assess the previous speech. Now, let us wait a few minutes for the next participant to enter the room. Sadly, this next participant will be our last participant for today's English competition. We'll be proceeding for participant from SMK Bukit Rangin, Muhammad Afham Rifai bin Muhammad Rafi, to the stage with their story entitled The Trees with a Door. You may start.
Good day, everyone. Once upon a time, there are a group of teenagers who are playing in the park. One of the teenagers found a tree with a tiny wooden. He was curious. He was filled with curiosity and asked all of his friends to see what's inside the door. They they ended up opening the door, and they all they all were pulled into the tiny wooden door. They ended up arriving at a peaceful forest full of creatures such as war. At first, they are scared, but then they realize that all of the creatures are friendly and kind. They can't speak normally because all the creatures can't speak their language. So they try to draw, and while they are communicating through drawing, they finally understand that the creatures are having small problems, which is there is flood in their village. This problem is small to the teenagers group, but it is big to the creatures because of the floods, they can go to the trees around the village because it is filled with water. Because of that, they can they don't have any food supply. And then all the teenagers make very good teamwork. They ended up helping all the creatures by building a bridge. All the creatures are very thankful because of all the teenagers' help. They ended up using the bridge to pick fruits from the tree around the beach. Because of that, all the creatures have agreed to help a group of teenagers to go back to the real world. They need to came to a waterfall and run under the waterfall to get back to the real. They ended up arriving at their own world back. I have nothing further to say.
Thank you for that beautiful delivery, Muhammad Afam. Let's give our judges a minute to evaluate the performance. Now, we have reached the end of the English competition. On behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to apologize for any mishaps throughout this session. Would one Ezra Arif and Afham Rifai please stay back after this session for your prepared storytelling round? The rest may leave, and we are hoping to see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye bye everyone. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Could we please have one Ezra Arif to start with his prepared storytelling?
Sure, give me time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Wan Ezra Arif from Sekolah Tuan Abdul Rahman. I'm sitting here today to tell you guys a meaningful story that could really move your emotion. So sit back and relax and let me have your attention. Not long ago, there was a thriving city full of greenery in every nook and cranny. But now, nothing green grows anymore. The sky is gray with thunders rumbling. Buildings are worn out, every plant has wilted, and hope has definitely dried out of people. But not for Maya, a kind-hearted 12-year-old girl who believes that small actions can make a big difference. One gloomy evening, Maya was walking down the sidewalk as she accidentally stuck her toes into a crack. Ouch, it hurts, Maya said. As she looked into the crack, she saw a tiny brown seed looking like it had almost been forgotten. Well, most people would have definitely walked past over it, but not for Maya. She picked it up and gently placed it in her palm as she ran back home. As she entered the room, she quickly searched for an item that could be used to plant her seed. Where is it? What should I use? Well, maybe I could use this. Luckily, she found an old rusty tin in the storage box. She rushed to the lawn of the house to collect some soil and neatly place it into the tin. After the seed was carefully stuffed inside the soil, she placed the tin by the window. She waters it, give it enough sunlight, and any other necessities for the seed to grow well. Days passed, then a week, then it became 2 weeks, but still nothing happened. People outside, passing by the house, saw the rusty tin by the window. Wait, Maya, am I saying this right? Are you really planting something? Come on. You know nothing green grows here anymore. You're basically just wasting your time. They said harshful words towards Maya, but Maya, being the hopeful girl she is, refused to listen to those words. She kept watering the soil and prayed the best for the growth of the seed. Then, one miraculous morning, something changed. Maya woke up from her bed to see a tiny sprout picked up from the soil, showing signs that the seed was still very much alive. Well, it may not be much for others, but for Maya, it meant everything. Days continues to pass, and the seed continues to grow healthily. Passers-by started to notice the change as well. Wait, Maya, isn't this the same seed I talked about weeks ago? Well, you really grew into a healthy plant. Well, that's amazing. Well, maybe I should tell the people about this. Subsequently, words began to spread throughout the whole city, encouraging people to start planting. And hope was finally restored in the people, indirectly drawing them to start planting in their homes. A boy living across the street planted a bean in a paper cup, while a middle-aged woman swept the sidewalk to make space for flower pots. Slowly, the gray-colored sky began to fade, and roots started to form. Maya saw the positive changes in the city bit by bit. The city was finally alive, and it was growing for a better place. Countless people thanked Maya for the realization that she had brought to the people. Oh, thanks a lot, Maya. Thank you for changing the faith of our people. We definitely owe you big time. Maya then thought to herself, I didn't change the world, but I surely planted something that did. Maya proved to the world that change doesn't always have to be big. Sometimes it starts small, with a small seed, with a small thing, and of course, with someone who refuses to give up. Maya advised the people to start small. They then asked Maya, why so? Maya replied, because small actions could lead to a bigger impact. And that's the end of my story. Thank you for letting me your ears.
Thank you, Wan Isra, for the amazing performance. Now, please welcome Abham Rifai to tell their prepared storytelling.
Hi. Can I ask for a minute because it is Azan in my place, right? Can we wait? Good day, everyone. Can I start now?
Yes, you may.
Good day, everyone. Today I'm going to tell you a story entitled The Procrastinated Change. Before I'm going to start, I have a question. Have you ever felt like you want to start something, but you're too lazy or didn't know how to start? That always happens to me all the time. Believe it or not, a tiny change can be the most frightening. It can really is the greatest transformation. As a start, this story is about a 16 years old student named Bella. She is a procrastinator and has big dreams. She failed her past math exam. Then she made steps and it changed her life. She improves her grade in 3 weeks. It all started as teacher Madam Anna walks into her class to teach. Before she leaves, she reminded the class to prepare for the upcoming math exam. It's in 3 weeks. At that moment, Bella realized that she needs to start studying, but it's too hard for her to start. Her inner voice said that her inner voice said, "It's okay, you still have time." She listened to her inner voice and delayed what she needs to come because she still have time, even though time has run. Because of that, she ended up completing homework early in the morning in classroom and do revision nights before exam. Then she came to the teacher's office to meet Madam Anna, her math teacher. Madam Anna, I want to share a problem that I always procrastinate and didn't know how to start studying. Madam Anna told her to start studying consistently for 30 to 60 minutes a day without stopping. Then, Madam Anna advised her to use flashcards that contains lots of math questions with different topics. Then, Madam Anna told her to keep her phone away from her to avoid distraction. Madam Anna also told her to do the past exam papers until she get it all right. She also advised to tidy up her study to ensure the comforts while studying. After hearing all the advice, she became eager to learn. Usually, she will be playing home in the evening, but now she will be studying for 30 to 60 minutes a day. And before she sleeps, she will be watching television. But now, she will be solving 1 or 2 flashcards before she sleeps. Now, the exam day has arrived, and Bella was well prepared. Bella walked confident into the exam hall with classmates. After the exam ends, Bella had small talk with Madam. Bella said, "Madam Anna, I don't think that I'm doing any better for this, but I have put much effort in it." Madam Anna comforted her by saying, "It's okay, Bella. You've tried your best. Let's hope for the best. All the hard work will be paid off." Bella ends the small talk by saying, "Thanks for all the advice. It helps me a lot." 2 weeks later, Madam Anna walks into the class to teach. I'm sorry. Madam Anna walks into the class with with the exam, the math exam result. Madam Anna starts calling the student's name according to the paper. When it's Bella's turn, her teacher said that Bella got a B plus for her math exam. Madam Anna was so shocked and jubilant that Bella got her grade from E to B plus in 3 weeks. That is insane. Even though she was overjoyed, she always remembered to not get too comfortable and always push the limit till SPM. So, the moral of the story is you need to start something to achieve something. It's okay to be unready, but don't make it as excuses to not start. As long as you start, you are one step. Start unprepared, start unmotivated. I have nothing further to say. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Afam, for that amazing speech. Now comes the end to our prepared storytelling session. We're hoping to see you guys tomorrow at 1. Thank you. You guys can leave the meeting now.